Today is a beautiful day, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to wash my car. So today I'm going to show you how to properly wash your vehicle using what's called the 2-bucket method. I have all my tools. I'll show you all the processes involved from start to finish. The other thing too to remember is our Model X has a ceramic coating, so I'll show you what's involved with how to care for that too. So let's follow along with the process. So this is my handy dandy pressure washer. This is a Karcher. Nothing special. It's just basically 1500 psi. We don't be using too much of this, but it's really good to take most of the dirty stuff off before you actually begin. Just to give you an idea of how dirty the car is right now, I haven't washed this in probably a week, and yesterday I went down a dirt road, so you can see here the wheels are just full of dirt, and it's in the wheel wells along the plastic cladding. Interestingly enough, you'll notice here that because of the ceramic coating, when you do get dirt and water on there, water spots, it tends to beat up. Now, the thing you have to remember with ceramic coatings, or any paint coatings for that matter, including a clear coat, is to never ever touch your paint with your fingers or anything dry. You need to lubricate it to be able to pull the dirt off the car. So let's talk about wash mitts. What I use is a chenille microfiber wash mitt. I have another one in the garage that has a chenille on one side and a scrubby surface on the other. I don't tend to use that one all that much, but we'll set this one aside. You also need several microfiber cloths. I have a lot more. I just thought I'd pull out a couple here to show you what's involved. We'll use that to apply some different products, of course, as well as to dry off the car when the time comes. So let's talk about some of the products that I use to wash my car. The first one here is a fairly generic car wash stuff. This is a concentrate in here made by Simonize. Generally with a ceramic coating, you don't want to actually use anything with wax. This is just the last of this. My next batch of stuff that I pick up won't have any wax component to it because, let's face it, ceramics basically cover the whole car. You really don't need any wax, but for today's purposes, we'll just finish this up. The next one I use here is for general detailing, door sills, the seats and stuff. It's called Spray 9. Although in this case, I've actually run out of Spray 9 and I filled it up with some simple green that's been diluted just a little bit. This works exceptionally well for the interior. This one here is a new product, well, at least to me anyways, and it's called Optimum Instant Detailer. This is courtesy of my friend Michael Bodner, who did a video recently on detailing his Model 3. This is the very last product we'll apply once the car's been completely dry. On my windows, I use this invisible glass, highly recommended. This stuff leaves no streaks, especially to use lots of microfiber towels, so make sure you have lots of those. Lastly, on my wheels, I use this stuff here. It's a gel, and here's the applicator. I keep that in a bag to keep it moist. Works really well. This stuff is way better. I used to use the spray foam stuff, but this stuff goes on and it doesn't make a mess all over my driveway, so very good product. Lastly is this product here. Now, everybody's been raving about this, O&R, the Optimum No Rinse. I'm not actually going to be using this today. I'm going to try this once the car's actually been cleaned, because today it's actually too clean or too dirty to be using this. So I'm going to use this in a future video, and I'll give you my thoughts on that, but look forward to a video in the future on using this product. All right, let's take a few seconds to just talk about this 2-bucket method, because you might have heard about it, so I'm going to explain to you what the process is. First of all, you need 2 buckets. These 5-gallon buckets work really quite well. You can get them at Home Depot for just a few dollars. This is a Woolly. I'm going to use this for washing the wheels, so you can pick this up at most car detailing places or automotive parts place. It's a stick. It's about 16 inches long or 20 inches long, and it's has a nice woolly part on here. This is really good for getting between the spokes and inside the rims of the car and stuff. So we'll set this aside for just a second here, and it's critical to make sure that you don't touch the ground for any of this stuff, because the moment you pick up any dirt on the ground or anything like that, it's game over. So make sure that all of your buckets and your tools, your implements, whatever, are totally clean before you begin. So what we have really here are 2 buckets, and each one of them I have a grit guard in the bottom. It's this little plastic piece here. You can get this on Amazon. If I find the link on Amazon, I'll put the link on the bottom of the description. And what this does is it just sits in the bottom of your bucket. I have one in this one. This will be my rinse bucket. I keep it orange. You can also write on the side which one. It's just keep them separate so you don't intermix. And the purpose of the grit guard, of course, is when you throw your wash mitt or anything in there, any dirt or grit falls through the grit guard, and it sits at the bottom so that your wash mitt doesn't drop down to the bottom and pick up all that dirt again. So it's absolutely critical that you get these things. They're pretty cheap, but they do a great job. So this one is going to be my my wash bucket, and this one here will be just pure water, and I'll show you the process as we go along on how to use this method. So this is my rinse bucket. Let's just fill it with some plain old water. sure your grit guard is sitting flush on the bottom. All right, let's do the wash bucket now. Throw some of the concentrate in there, about that much, doesn't take much. I don't want it to suds up too much when it gets to the top. We're just about there. All right, that's good right there. All right, we're going to connect the pressure washer now. By the way, I actually use brass quick disconnect metal connectors. I don't like the plastic ones, they break all the time. These ones, if you buy the good ones, they'll last you a lifetime. Money well spent. The first thing I like to do before I actually wash the car is actually raise the suspension on the Model X all the way up. That allows me to get inside the wheel wells with the pressure washer and get all this gunk out. So to raise the suspension, we tap on controls, we tap on suspension. I do have to press the brake before we can do anything, and then I'm going to press very high. All right, now that I've cleaned the wheel wells, I'm going to lower the suspension and I'm going to start washing the car from the top down. So remember, I have a ceramic coating on this car, so I want to show you what the spray nozzle does, and I want you to watch the water bead right off this car. It just sheets right off the car. Here's a little something I want to show you, because I get a lot of comments on the internet as to which way should you go, paint protection film or ceramic coating. And the actual difference is that a paint protection film is a physical barrier between your paint and the outside elements. And I want to show you why I did it, because if you could see this, I got this little tiny pock mark right there. That's a stone chip. You can see it's a little dark underneath. Anyway, so this is a physical protection barrier against stone chips. A ceramic coating is like Teflon for your paint. It makes the water bead up just like this. So as you can imagine, it just makes the car so much easier to wash. So the decision is yours. The best is actually both, but if you can do one or the other, you have to make a decision. Do I want a car to be easier to wash, or do I want protection against stone chips? Now here's the trick about the 2-bucket method. Before you take your mitt to get more suds, you have to rinse it. So I'm going to take this mitt and I'm going to put it into my to my rinse bucket, and I'm just going to squeeze a little bit to get most of the water out, and then come back and dip it in again. The other thing you'll notice is that I'm not doing circles. It's always straight lines. The last thing you want to do is introduce swirl marks. That's the whole point. Keep it straight and work from top to bottom. Dirtier areas like the very bottom of the door, especially the rocker panels and the front of the car, I will usually use another mitt to make sure they don't introduce anymore, because they're the dirtiest parts. So I'll use a second mitt for that when I get around to the front. I'm about to do the front, and I just wanted to show you, this is my other microfiber mitt that I have, and it's chenille on one side. It's got this very light scrubby on the other side, and this will really help to take the bugs off the front. But of course, the ceramic coating really helps make sure that the bug guts come off with very little effort. That one just came right off. Having a pressure washer is one of the best tools you can have if you're a weekend warrior washing your car, because it really makes taking most of the grit off super easy. You severely reduce the risk of marring your paint by letting the pressure washer do most of the work. Yeah, like no bugs. It just came right off. I love this mitt. Well, that mostly completes the exterior washing process. I'm actually going to dry it now, but before I do that, I always give it one last rinse, because you can see here in the windshield there's quite a few water spots and still some dirt. So we'll rinse most of that off, and with a microfiber towel we'll actually go through panel by panel and dry off the car. I like to use a microfiber towel. One side has a low pile, the other side has a thick pile. I like to use the thick pile, fold it over in 4, and mostly just wipe it away. We're in the hot sun, so that'll help take some of the stuff off, and then we'll hit it with the invisible glass later on once we get most of these water spots off. As you can imagine, the Model X is a bit of a challenge to wash on account of this big windshield and the car being so tall. And just like washing the car, drying it is exactly the same thing. Always go in straight lines, never do swirls or circles. So now we've dried the car with the microfiber cloth, I'm going to go over it one more time with this little product. This is a Datavac electric duster. Anyways, you can pick them up on Amazon. There's some for car detailing, but you're going to pay too much. These are just a little computer thing, and it's great for getting the water out of the little nooks and crannies here in the trim, and especially the wheels and stuff. So I'll show you how it works. Alright, that about does it for drying the car. The next thing I'm going to do is hit all the windows with the invisible glass and a clean microfiber cloth. I always use thick pile facing out. I fold it in fours, and then I just very quickly hit the windows. This also works really good for chrome, by the way. It takes all the water spots off. There's no getting away from water spots when you wash a car, but if you take it off with this stuff, it works wonders. So now that I've finished all the windows, the next thing I'm going to do is open all the doors, all the closures, and go over all of the door jambs and all the seals and everything inside of the doors with either spray 9 or simple green, whatever works. Nothing too caustic, of course. So anyways, here we go. When it comes to cleaning the interior of my car, the very first thing I do is I use a brand new microfiber cloth, clean one, and I do the seats first. Of course, I have the white seats. I want to make sure that I'm not picking up any dirt anywhere else in the car and introducing on the seats. And I haven't cleaned these seats in about 2 weeks, and they look still really good. But it's one of those things, you know, it's kind of hit or miss. A lot of people like them, a lot of people hate them. If you do get them, you just got to keep on top of them. And, you know, if you have kids, if you have pets, maybe not such a great idea unless you protect them. I love them. One of the best parts, of course, is in the summertime, because today it's starting to get really warm. Is that the interior of the car stays nice and cool when I sit on the seats. Of course, you turn on the air conditioner, it really helps too. So what I usually do is just a light spritz is all it takes on these seats. And the areas that get most dirty are the bolsters, so these side areas, and a little bit at the back, because that's where all the crumbs accumulate. I always said to myself that I would never eat in a car, with that rule lasted about a week. Now the stitches look pretty good right now, but I do have a toothbrush, and on occasion I'll take a little bit of OxyClean or something like that in liquid form. I'll just run that along the seams and just use the toothbrush just to get some of the grime out. It seems to work quite well. All right, now that the seats are all done, I'll just tackle all the black cladding in the back of the seats, the seat pillars. By the way, if you watched my video from a few months ago where I put the paint protection film on the door steps here, they're holding up really well. I've had lots of people in the car because I've been doing the different car shows. It's holding up quite well. I'm still not a great fan of the gloss. I might change it eventually to matte if I can find some stuff that suits my fancy, but so far really well, working well. Now the next area I'm going to handle here is all of the insides of all the apertures. So I just kind of liberally spray some of this stuff on and quickly just take it all off. Again, the trick here is making sure you have a lubricant so that it picks up all the dirt and then you're not scratching the surface as much as humanly possible. To do it dry is not doing your car any services. By the way, a little bit of a tip for you. In the winter months, if you have a Model S, X, or a 3, because of the frameless windows, sometimes the doors or the windows will stick a little bit in the wintertime, you know, with some ice buildup. So here's a little tip. You can get a spray can of silicone lubricant with a little red pipette on it, and just spray all of the door seals. Actually, I put it on a rag and then I just wipe it on. So on the inner seals and the outer seals, and that will really help to make sure that nothing sticks to it. Alright, I just dropped my microfiber cloth, so it's game over. Gotta use a fresh one. Ta-da! Here's a little pro tip for you. I want to show you something. Every Model S, X, or 3 has these little rubber bumpers, and you'll find them in the trunk, you'll find them in the front trunk. If you find that your trunk or your front trunk is not level, you can turn these. They actually turn clockwise and anti-clockwise because they're like a little screw. Matter of fact, if you go too far out, they'll just pop right out. But you can just screw them in and out so that you can get that perfect flush fit on the trunk or the front trunk. The very last part we're going to do here before we do the final detailing on the paint is I'm going to wash these disgusting wheels. I'm going to froth up my my soap here, do a little bit of a cappuccino thing. Now, one thing I didn't show here off camera is that I had actually rinsed out the bucket and put some fresh soap in here. Alright, as I showed you before, we got to use the Woolie. You just kind of dip that in there and you get right inside the wheel, across the whole rim on the inside and the outside. These things are great tools to get into those little spots. Woo, dirty. One thing I didn't mention is that these wheels are ceramic coated too, the surface area, so it actually causes all the soap and the water to run right off. So it actually does make it very easy to clean. Yes, you can ceramic coat your wheels. Some of you might be also wondering what these red, what the red piping is around the edges of my wheels. And these things are called wheel bands, and I picked them up from evanx.com. They're good friends of ours and sponsors of the website, so thank you for that, full disclosure. They are designed so that if you ever hit a curb or whatever, the premise is that they take the brunt of it rather than destroying your expensive wheels. I'm super careful with my car, so hopefully I never have that problem, but I have seen curb rash or wheel rash happen right in front of my very own eyes with somebody who had a brand new Model X. And I said, you know what, if I get nice wheels, I'm not going to be that guy. So I think it's about $100 for a set of these things. It takes about 15 minutes to install. I think it's pretty cheap insurance if you ever run into trouble. Now the Woolie can't get into some of the little nooks and crannies, so I like to use one of these little Adobe pads, I guess they're called, and just very lightly get into little areas. This stuff is it's fairly gentle, but it does have a bit of a grit to it. So never use it on your paint. Your clear coat will get damaged from this stuff. This is okay for these little areas as long as you go lightly on the wheels. But like I said, don't use it on your paint. You will regret it. Don't ask me how I know. One of the things you'll learn about car detailing is that you make mistakes along the way. And I've made plenty of mistakes over the years. Yeah, it's a little bit of an area. Behind the spokes is a little tough. Sometimes you got to go in two over, one over, whatever it takes. It's a little tough to get behind there. That's why these Woolies are so nice. Of course, if your spokes on your tire are a little tighter, it's going to be a little more difficult to get in there. But if you have a Model 3 and you have the aero wheels, don't be lazy. Take the aero wheel covers off and clean it properly. Makes drying the rubber off on the tires very fast too, so you don't have to wait very long to apply your tire dressing if you want. Makes very quick work of drying off little bits. I love this tool. Alright, now's the time where we're going to put our tire dressing on. As I mentioned before earlier in the video, this is called Armor All Extreme Tire Shine Gel. I've used foam before. It makes a mess. I hate this stuff. Comes with this little foam applicator, has a little channel in here, and basically the process is it's like putting a little bit of ketchup on here. A little bit down in the channel. Hopefully you can see that. And you just, the way I apply it is I just go down in a streak like this, come back the other side, turn it around, and this gel will gloss up over the next few minutes. The nice thing about this is that because it goes on thin, it doesn't fling around and make a mess of your wheels. Anyways, really like this product. This is by far my favorite tire dressing I've ever used now. Highly recommended. Now that we just finished the wheel detailing, the last step is to apply the instant detailer or the gloss enhancer, and have a brand new fresh microfiber cloth, and you just spray it on lightly and just wipe it off. Yeah, it feels pretty slick, nice and soft, lovely smell too. You know, people with products these days are putting some lovely smells into their products, and that's quite nice. I like it. Keep up the good work. Well, there you have it. That's how I detail my car. It takes me about an hour today, a little longer because of the video work. First, I want to give a big shout out to my friend Michael, who recommended this gloss enhancer by Optimum. I like it. I'll put a link in the video description if you want to try it out for yourself. The next time I do a detailing video, I'll talk about the Optimum no rinse product. I haven't quite tried it yet, so this video is all about a full detailing from wash, you know, the inside and so on and so forth. Now, I know some of you are probably going to comment on the video and say things like, well, you should use a foam cannon, maybe you should use this product, whatever. The foam cannon thing, I think, is kind of a fad. I haven't tried it yet, but you know, this works for me. I've been doing it a long time. This is the way that I like to do things. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. See you later.